the line itself is kind of, in a sense, a calming line, isn't it? Mm-hmm. The way these things are written, just not my 78s, or whatever you say. Like you're trying to kind of like not make waves with your dialogue. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah.
So that's why you don't want to deliver them that way. Because you got that covered in the line. Otherwise, it's all very one-dimensional. So find the difficulty in being nice. Do you understand?
Yeah.
You want conflict. The more conflict, the better. So that when when she's screaming at you, it's not easy to take. And it's not easy to be like, I'll get rid of stuff. So, in a sense, we're kind of keeping a little bit of at least an attempt to have a backbone. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
I think it does make sense.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's interesting, too. I mean, when you were having your conversation with Gabby, the pitch of your voice goes up. Are you aware of that?
Yeah.
But when you're talking to me now, it's the lower register. Mm-hmm. Now, keep in mind that the lower register is a more vulnerable place to be. Okay, so that when you go up, it's almost like cutting yourself off from, I would say, the best part of the actor. So you almost have to remind yourself to stay relaxed and use that lower voice to keep the vulnerability in the character.
Yeah, sure.
So remind yourself to use that lower register. It makes a big difference. So because when I talk to them up here, I kind of lose some of that. It becomes a little bit more sort of performer-like instead of when I'm talking from down here, where there's an openness to it. So those are some things that I would suggest. On your end, much better when you're throwing the stuff, much better when you storm in and out and the whole thing. The only note I would say to you is I'd like her to be more tense at the top, inside.
Okay.
So that it doesn't come from nowhere. Okay. It is coming from seemingly nowhere, but there's an explosion going off inside already from action. And it's like, when you start the scene, you're already there.
Okay.
So it's just one little drop of water in the boiling pot. It's going to spill it over the edge. And that little drop of water doesn't necessarily have to come from Dean. It can just come from your own thought. Mm-hmm. It can just be, I can't handle it, and you flip out. But at the very top, what do you say? What are your first lines?
What about P78?
So when you're there, you're already kind of going,
Okay.
Well, what about the 78s? Like as if you've already been talking about this for an hour.
Okay.
Like it's been one thing after another. First he said, I want to keep these old baseball cups. Then he said the caps, and then he said, no, those sheets, don't throw those away. Those were given to me by my grandmother. And then and you keep trying to put stuff, and he said, no, and then finally, 78s.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah.
So let's try it again.
Yeah.